需要嘅醫藥同供應要長途跋涉從天津運去。有一次，李愛銳喺途中遇到匪徒搶劫，失去所有嘅物品，佢只好返去，再次用雷車運嚟。期間亦都有可能遇上日本軍隊嘅阻攔。縱然係咁危險，李愛銳都冇退縮過。
He was indeed a very fine Christian, and many people described him as Christ-like, but he was extremely human, you know, and he enjoyed a comfortable life as much as the rest of us, and he wanted to be with his family as much as anybody would want to be. So deciding to leave all that and to go out to Xiaojiang was a difficult decision for him, and to me that actually validates his mission all the more. The fact that he didn't want to do it particularly. Xiaojiang at that time was really on the front line of a very difficult political and military situation. They're invading Japanese troops. He was going out either on foot or on bicycle to where he felt he was needed in the villages, and he would preach there, he would pray with the local people, he would help where he could, he would bring them back to the hospital if they were wounded, and he would just do everything he could to be, you know, to be a friend, to represent Christ to them, I suppose, as he would see it.
Of course, many times they'd have to go through the Japanese lines, and there were always guards stopping them, asking for documentation. And one of the things that he had to take when he went out to the outreach communities was to pay the people. And he had to pay them in dollars because the Chinese money at that point, there wasn't worth it, nobody was accepting it. And so what he used to do was, when he's taking his lunch with him in his haversack, he used to have a French bread stick, which they could cut and take out the center and then stuff the money inside and then put the bread back together. And then he would put it in his haversack. And then when he got to the border, to distract the Japanese, he used to bring out the photographs of his daughters, and they would look at them, and then they'd bring out their photographs and they'd exchange them. And then the Japanese, it's amazing how they then just waved him through. So he knew how to get past the lines.
根據好多人嘅回憶，李愛銳喺戰亂嘅日子，曾經喺日本人手上救咗唔少中國人。
佢曾經親眼見到日本人殺死幾個中國人，咁啊殺到拉尾嗰個斬頭嗰個咧，就好似唔知點解已經攰咗啊，唔知點樣咧，嗰個嘢殺佢唔死，冇死到啊，俾 Eric 呢度睇到，咁啊睇到就即刻孭佢就送佢醫院生翻呢個人啊！佢個救人咧，即係對人都嗰個愛心，即係人真係好好嘅。所以中國而家嗰個電視台又好，中央電視台、第山東電視台，嗰個中國對佢都係好尊敬嘅。
另外有一次，佢喺路上遇到一個中國畫家被日軍斬頭，差啲傷及氣管。李愛銳救佢上車，以簡陋嘅設備，竟然奇妙咁使到佢痊癒。嗰位畫家後來繪製咗一幅牡丹送俾佢，而佢就印贈俾朋友，紀念神奇妙嘅救護。1941年2月，喺燒張嘅醫院俾日本人拆平。5月，戰爭風雲緊密，為咗妻女安全着想，李愛銳趁住海上航行仲未斷絕，及時將懷孕嘅妻子同埋2個女兒送上船返去加拿大，而佢自己就堅持留守中國。想唔到佢哋之後就冇機會再見面。但係李愛銳記得媽媽話過，愛主嘅人係冇最後嘅離別嘅。
The Japanese war came through in 1941 and encroached. A lot of people took the safety option and went home to the West, to Canada, America, or UK. He chose to stay. Now that, again, to me, is the act of a very principled human being. All of these things add up to me to make me appreciate he was a lovely human being.
1941年12月8號，日本偷襲珍珠港，並且攻擊香港。美英對日宣戰，同日本成為敵國。1943年3月12號，命令頒布，所有英美敵國平民喺3月26號，每人限帶2箱衣物，遷移到山東維園集中營，作為日後用嚟做交換戰俘嘅人質。維園嘅集中營原本係北美基督教長老會創辦嘅樂道院，曾經一度係廣民中學嘅校址，而家用嚟做平民集中營。大約有1500名外國僑民被關進喺呢度。呢度四面都有圍牆，裝有通電嘅鐵絲刺網，碉樓有日軍居高臨下駐守監視，夜間有強光照射燈。嗰陣時戰情危急，食物供應短缺。好多人衣衫襤褸，營養不良，以致非常瘦削。不過管制唔算太嚴謹，佢哋可以喺主日度聚會，並且組織咗學校，使到細路仔嘅教育可以繼續。
School will go on. Did you have a chair? Nobody had a chair. Did you have a desk? Nobody had a desk. Almost nobody had even a bed. You could sit on the floor, you could sit on the steamer trunk, you could sit out under the trees, and they would be having school going on. I remember at the beginning, we were issued one little paper notebook a month. And if you finished your notebook, for all your studies, one little notebook, you had to go to the beginning again, erase and use it again, erase and erase until you had holes in your notebook. That's all you had.
Most of the people putting dormitories, some of them were very large dormitories, about people who had never met each other before, even though they come from the same town, from Beijing, from Tianjin, from Qingdao, and from upcountry. All different kinds, from heads of large commercial concerns, the missionaries. But all these people coming together meant that there was quite a lot of unrest in the dormitories, people getting on with each other. And one must bear in mind that the amount of space that one had to call one's own was an area of about 6 feet by 4 feet, which is just enough to lie down in and enough to put your things alongside. That's the background to what I'm saying about living with Eric Liddell. And it was peaceful, was quiet. We were, of course, all four, the four of us that were in that dormitory, all missionaries. We had a lot in common, our missionary work, our Christianity, our Christian faith. And so it was a very happy dormitory.
其實李愛銳嘅女一直唔明白，亦唔開心點解爸爸當時唔同佢哋一齊離開中國。但係後來當佢哋從集中營出嚟嘅人口裏面知道佢爸爸喺營裏面點樣照顧細路仔，就諒解咗同埋欣賞佢爸爸嘅決定。
Hearing what the camp was like, I then realized that there were many children in that camp who had no parents whatsoever with them because they had been at school and boarding school and had been trapped behind Japanese lines and put in the camp. Their parents were in Australia now or other parts of China. So realizing how much it meant to them to have someone like my father help take care of them made me realize that we had been very fortunate in our lives, that we spent the war years in safety. We were surrounded by our aunts and uncles, and those children needed my father, and he was there for them. And not too long ago, I got a letter from Taylor's daughter, and she sent me a wonderful letter in which she told me that both her parents had been in the camp, that they were raised with stories of Uncle Eric and how much